welcome to another Cup of Joe with Joe. And today we have more snacks. Unlike the first time when I didn't bring enough snacks for Joe. So he's got his nice chunk of watermelon to chill out while we have a nice discussion. So in my Cup of Joe, which if you notice my cup, this is Swamp Girl's favorite movie of all time. Okay? This is Spaceballs, Flamethrower, A Child's Toy. So if you remember that part of the Spaceballs movie, if you're a Spaceballs fanatic like I am, right? Spaceballs the teacher, Spaceballs the breakfast cereal, Spaceballs the flamethrower. The kids love this one. And last but not least, Spaceballs the doll. Me that wants to be with you. Adorable. Anyway, we'll get off of Spaceballs right now and move on to an episode of A Cup of Joe with Joe. Right? Alright, so caffeine. We're going to talk about a very, very serious subject now. We have a very big problem with dog-chewed gopher tortoises coming through our rehabilitation facility. So basically, when people let their dogs out, you know, they may not be watching them. They are in prime gopher tortoise habitat, and automatically, you know, they're kind of slow-moving creatures. Most of the time, they just kind of tuck in, and it makes them potential chew toys for dogs. And that's a problem. It's a big, big problem. And about 30% of the injuries we get in are from domestic dog situations. So, we're going to talk a little bit about Barry. We have a special guest. There we go. There's little Barry. So, Barry is a non-releasable gopher tortoise. We've had him for about 2 years now. And can we see Barry okay? Or do I need to move up a little bit? So Barry, you can see he's got some pretty critical injuries, some pretty nasty injuries here, very critical. Basically, part of his lung was exposed. Over on this side, part of his stomach was exposed, muscle tissues, and part of his arm was chewed back. He had to have sutures. Oh my gosh, why are you peeing? You know, comes with the territory. That's all right. It's okay. It happens. We're nervous, camera shy. All right, good. So, basically, all of those areas were chewed back and exposed. We didn't think he was going to make it, honestly. But we put every effort in, and check this out. I mean, he's doing really well. The only problem is we poop in their hand, poop in his hand. Okay, we are definitely going. Okay, thank you. Ugh. Hold on. Time out. So, basically, he has healed. Right here, this is the spine. This is right where the spine starts, and the vertebra and the spinal cord, all right here. Okay? So that was exposed. Any further, and this tortoise would be paralyzed. Right? So this is a really, really nasty injury. Sadly, he was not able to be released. We were kind of hoping that would be the case, but his damages were just too bad. So now he educates the public about dog chew awareness in gopher tortoises. Right, Barry? Yes, you are adorable. You are adorable. So, a lot of people ask, they'll be like, so, what do I do? How do I prevent dog chew situations? And one of the first things you can do is be aware. So, knowing that you have gopher tortoises on your property or near your property is number one. So, now you've identified that you could have a conflict. Now, is your dog a dog that might be a little bit more curious or aggressive or have a feed response to a gopher tortoise? Well, in those situations, we want to definitely make sure that we keep them apart. Curiosity is one thing. Come up, a sniff, and then we walk away, not a problem. Now, obviously, if we're starting to act like they're a chew toy, that's a problem, right? So, we want to make sure that if you have a fenced-in yard, make sure that the boundaries are secure. We don't want your dog to escape either, so having secure boundaries also prevent tortoises from coming into your property, but also from the dog getting out of the property and possibly and potentially chewing a gopher tortoise or another wild animal. Another thing we suggest is doing a scan. So if you want, you can take your dog out on a leash. You just walk the property with your dog. Make sure you look for any little tortoises, big tortoises, any kind of activity that you may not want them to confront. And if you see all is clear, release, and now you can let them off the leash and enjoy some free time. And, this is also another good way of training the dog, because now what if they come across something else in the yard, like a snake or a rabbit, a baby squirrel that may have fallen from a tree. Now you have them on a leash and you can check them and correct them and let them know that we're not going to touch that. So having those opportunities to walk your dog around the property is actually a really good training technique for all purposes. So that's another way. In recent time, somebody had a dog that they had repeat issues. They ended up using, I know it's not always great, a shock collar, but after only 2 shocks, the dog never touched a tortoise again. That was it, 2 times, that's all it took. So, if we can't use a positive reinforcement, you may have to consider that. That's a little controversial. It depends on the situation, but it is something that has been successful with certain situations. So, but we definitely want to make sure that we protect these little guys. They're innocent. They're not out trying to get us or bite us. They just want to live out their life. And here in Florida, they are a protected species, so it's illegal to harm them, move them, or harm their burrows. So, and that goes for our dogs as well. We need to keep them under control and make sure they don't harm anybody. Right, little Barry? That was no fun for you. No, it wasn't. That was a terrible thing, right? All right. So I'm gonna let Barry walk a little bit here. When I go now, he's like, no, he's like, now I don't want to go. All right. So we will let you go. Ow! Had to pee on me again. Oh my gosh, you're just nervous Nelly today. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let Barry head back. He's a little camera shy. All right, and we're gonna get back to Joe for a second here. So Joe, what do you think? What do you think about that? Oh, sorry, I was just rotating your watermelon. Yeah, one of his favorite treats. He's like, yeah, yep, you got that piece. Got it? All right, so make sure you visit our website, swampgirladventures.org. If you click on the animal facts pages, we do have a section that has talks about gopher tortoises, and it does have a part where we talk about gopher tortoise safety. If you think about it, these guys, they're really vulnerable. They're already habitat destruction, housing developments, and I know it can seem like a problem, but at the same time, think about how they're having to adapt and struggle with less of their food being available, less of their land being available, and then coming into contact with cars, and then now domestic dogs. So try to think of it from their side, right? All right, well, I think that was pretty good, Joe. You stayed here the whole time. I didn't have to go anywhere. We weren't chasing you around. Yeah. Your butt scratch. All right, so till our next episode of A Cup of Joe with Joe.